certain provisions of the open meeting law, we are conducting this meeting in a hybrid model, both virtually and in person. The Cemetery Committee is conducting this meeting September 7th, 2022 at 4 p.m. Eastern on the Zoom platform and in person, and in accordance with the town policy, directive, and guidelines issued on April 1st, 2020 and amended on May 7th. If you are recognized, please state your name and address. This meeting is being recorded. All committee votes will be taken via roll call. We will start with an attendance roll call of committee members. When I announce your name, please reply. Rod Rydell.
Present.
Gary Susie.
Here.
And myself, Brian Davidson, present. Great. So we've done the deed signing a little earlier prior to this meeting. So the next point of business is to discuss liaison to Friends of Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. So as you know, Rebecca Broussel, who was a terrific member of our team, had to step off the committee. She was serving as the liaison to the Friends of Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. I received a message earlier today from Keith, Kevin, regarding the idea of a liaison. So often we had the committee assign a member to attend the Friends of Sleepy Hollow Cemetery's meetings. Kevin is suggesting that perhaps somebody from the Friends of the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery come and join our meetings, that we kind of reverse this whole process. Andrea Solomon, who was a recent member of the cemetery committee, she's currently on the Friends. And she had kind of talked with Kevin about that she would be very willing to attend our meetings and report back. And I don't know, happy to have discussion on it. I mean, from my point of view, to me, this makes much more sense to have, they have a much larger body of people that could come attend our committee meetings. Our membership's down to 3. And so it's, an added pressure for all we're doing to be able to also attend their meetings. And so it makes a lot of sense to me, but just happy to throw the floor open. Rod or Jerry, if you had any ideas or opinions on that.
Brian, I think that sounds fine with me.
Okay, great.
I agree with Jerry, Brian. I think this is a good suggestion.
Wonderful. Okay, then I will reach back out to Kevin and connect with him and Andrea, and hopefully she'll be able to come attend our next October meeting, or somebody from the committee, their group can come join us. So that will be wonderful. Sorry. So the next is our next proposed cemetery committee meeting is October 5th, 2022. Does anybody have a problem with that date? Okay.
Yep.
Not hearing any, then
Yep.
we will see you guys then. And then approval for the minutes of our May 11th, 2022 vote. Is there a motion to accept these minutes?
I move that we accept the minutes of the May 11th, 2022 committee meeting.
I'll second that.
Thanks, Jerry. Were there any changes or any comments anybody wanted to make to the minutes?
No.
They look great to me, Justine. Thanks as always for putting those together. Appreciate it. So, all right. So I'll take a roll call on the motion. Jerry, do you approve the minutes?
Aye.
Bob, do you approve the motion?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. All right, so that leaves us next to our discussion and action items. We have D1, which is our CPW staff report.
Good afternoon, everyone. Aaron McCloskey, Highway and Ground Superintendent. A couple updates. So Einstein's continuing with their landscaping maintenance in the cemetery. All is going well. Kind of had a drought there's a drought in the region, so growing is slow. But we're going to see some greening up here with the recent rains and the cooler temperatures at night. The bollards that were donated by Friends of Sleepy Hollow and accepted at a previous committee meeting and by the select board were installed over the summer by Einstein Solutions through the gift of friends. So I encourage anybody that wants to visit the cemetery to go take a look at the area. Looks great. So they really did an awesome job. Really fitting with the memorial and all the work that was done by previous committees and staff at that location. Sales information and operations. The lot sales for June, July, and August. There's 9 full burials, 20 cremations that took place in the cemetery, and 24 single grave lots and 6 cremation lots were sold during that time. A couple updates on projects. Headstone restoration is ongoing. Historic Gravestone Services has been working in the cemetery this summer under supervision from Tish, and is working their way through the list of the restoration for the headstones. So we provided them, and that'll continue into the fall and likely resume in the spring after the winter. The Columbarium Subcommittee has been active throughout the summer while the cemetery committee has been kind of on summer recess, if you will. And working with staff, put together an RFP that'll be going out to prospective bidders for proposed columbarium design here this fall. So subcommittee has been very active, and from staff standpoint, really appreciate their help and their involvement. So, and that's all that I have. Tish, you have anything else you want to add? Justine, anything?
No, that's it.
Thank you.
Terrific. Thanks, Aaron. Any questions from the committee for Aaron?
Yes, Brian, it's Rod Rydell, just with one follow-up question for Aaron and for Tish. The headstone restoration work that's going on this year, is this a continuation of the work that was going on last year? The reason I ask is because I know that we had received in my first year as a committee member, sort of a summary report of the headstones that had been done the preceding year. And are we going to get a summary of the headstones that were restored last year? Is that coming, or is it going to fold into the work that's going on this year?
So the last report that you received, Rod, was the last set of headstones that were restored. There haven't been any other than the ones that we started this summer that have been restored since then. This is the subsequent contract to that first one when you referred to committee member. There will be a report that is completed by the contractor after this round in the spring. I think
Is he
we lost
frozen?
signal. Yeah.
And he's frozen.
Jerry, were you able to hear that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, so maybe we can pause till we get
Yep.
Yeah, we lost.
Rod, because we don't have a quorum.
Lost him totally. All right. Okay.
Just in case everybody online didn't hear, we're taking a break for a minute because without Rod, we don't have a quorum. Currently, we're down 2 people, so we'll just need a minute to let Rod get back in before we can continue.
Okay, my apologies. I don't understand why the internet cut out, but I'm back, if you can hear me.
Rod, we're happy to have you back. Thanks for joining us again.
Thank you. Thank you. My apologies.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so Rod, did you hear Aaron's response to your questions?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And that satisfies my question. Thank you.
Okay, terrific, great. Next on the item is a request to purchase 8 grave lots. Tish, I'll throw it to you.
The Lantain/Smith family wants to purchase 8 graves just to have enough space for their family. It's just her parents and her sibling.
Great, and that's pretty common request that we get, and
Yeah,
one that's often
nothing
approved. Yeah, okay, great.
Yep.
Would entertain a motion on that if somebody would like to make one.
Make a motion to approve the purchase of the 8 grave lot from the Lantain family.
I'll second that.
Thanks, Jerry. So for a roll call vote, myself, I'm an aye. Rod,
Aye.
Jerry,
Aye.
terrific. Motion passes. Wonderful. All right, D3 is a review of letter to recognize the Friends of Sleepy Hollow's 20th anniversary. So this was something that our dear friend Rebecca had kind of thought about at our last meeting. She was able to make a draft. I worked with her to kind of improve some additional lines into the draft after she left. Hopefully you got a copy yesterday and had a chance to review. And so I don't know if anybody has any edits, any suggestions that they would like to make to the regarding the letter.
Just one minor, it's Jerry with a J.
Oh, okay. I think on the website does it? We gotta change that too.
Oh,
Yeah. So sorry,
yes.
Jerry, I took that off the website on that.
Okay.
No, we'll get that
Yeah,
fixed.
that's an easy one.
I just have a comment, Brian. I think the letter's excellent. I think they're going to be really pleased to receive it. So thanks so much for your effort.
Terrific, terrific. Okay, so sorry, I've lost do we need to make a motion on this to approve the letter? Okay, so yes, I think we have, so I'll make a motion that we accept this letter to recognize the Friends of Sleepy Hollow's 20th anniversary. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Terrific. Rod,
Aye.
Jerry,
Aye.
and myself as an aye. And I'll just take this time just to comment. I also received another message from Kevin today. He just wanted us to kind of put into the record, and also to let anybody in the public and anybody on the committee know that the Friends of Sleepy Hollow is celebrating, of course, their 20th anniversary. To celebrate, they'll be hosting a breakfast at the Colonial Inn. In addition to some great food, Miss Beth Van Duce will present Concord cemeteries and the story they tell. And the Friends will detail 2 permanent gifts that they plan on giving the town to commemorate their 20th anniversary. The breakfast is next a week from Saturday, so September 17th. It starts at 7:30 a.m. Again, it's at the Colonial Inn. And registration hopefully should be done by the 10th, although that's not a strict date. But for more information about the event can be found at the friendsofsleepyhollow.org. So very exciting. I think I registered. I hope everybody else did. I think we saw some of the highlights of that presentation, and it looked pretty fascinating. So very excited to attend that. Okay, so next we'll move to D4, the CPC application for stone wall repair in the cemetery. Rod, I know you've done a lot of work on this along with Aaron and Tish. Do you want to?
Well, the copy of the application, I mean, I'll briefly summarize. In discussions early in the summer with Aaron, I learned that the department was planning to put together a request for funding from CPC to repair some of the stone walls and some of the stone structures in the cemetery. And so I volunteered to help them prepare that grant. And the grant application is final now. We've gone through several rounds of edits and suggestions, and all of you have seen a copy of the grant. We've gotten, as you'll see, already a letter of support from the Friends of Sleepy Hollow, and we have other committees, including this one, that we're hoping that we can get a letter of support to accompany the application. It's, you've seen the grant proposal. It does not include the repair of every stone wall and every stone structure, but it does include quite a few, and maybe in the following years we'll get the funding to finish the repairs. This total project budget is $685,800, and we're requesting $340,000 from the CPA funds. I guess the only other administrative work that we need to do on this grant proposal, unless the committee members have found some glaring errors in it, is make 10 copies, get Aaron to sign the cover page for the application and deliver it to the CPC no later than next Friday. And Aaron, I'll work with you on that as to whether, I'm happy to take care of the administrative work, or you can hand it, I can hand it over to you right now, whatever you want to do. So that's the summary of, everyone's got a copy of it. So you've seen the maps, you've seen the photos, and the sections. And so if there are any questions about it or any comments, please just open it up.
Sure. Well, I mean, I thought it was a fantastic application. I mean, represents a lot of work that everybody has done. So I thought it was really great, Rod, and really appreciate you taking the lead and working with all the townspeople to get it done. And I think it's great that you had that assessment done last year, and that's kind of really the driver for the walls that we're going to be choosing. A lot of those were in poor condition and in need. So it looks like we're going to be handling it, a lot of it, and especially hopefully getting that burial hill fixed up for the 2025 town celebration would be terrific to have. I don't know, Aaron, did you any other comments you want to make on it? Or?
Yeah, I just want to thank Rod, for all the time and effort he's put into it. Phenomenal job. Thanks for taking the lead, and just to remind the committee and anybody else that may watch this or is tuning in, that the committee had set priority projects a few years back, and this is one of them. So that was the driver. So thank you to the committee for making that a focus. That's what drove us to the committee voted and wanted to allocate some capital money to the initial assessment you just referenced. It's it is in the application for the stone walls. So thanks to the committee for making this a priority, and hopefully it's a successful project. I think that it will be, while I think Rod, we're asking, mentioned that we're asking for, I think, the 300,000. Hopefully we can come up with money from other funding sources in town and get most of these walls repaired timely fashion. So it'd be great.
So maybe I could just ask a question on the cemetery fund aspect of it. So that would be about 343,000. So how does that, you talk a little bit about the cemetery fund and exactly how much is in the fund, how much does that represent? I know
I don't have the fund balance off the
top of my head,
but I would say so that the cemetery fund is funded through lot sales,
perpetual
care,
interest,
correct, and donations, and usually CPC grants. In order for them to be successful, CPC likes to see matching funds coming from other sources. They don't want to be the only ones funding the project. So I think with the cemetery committee, a letter of support goes a long way. Stating that the cemetery fund will be matching and moving towards some funding. It's a town decides to put general funding towards it. So be it. Hopefully, if we have some mausoleum sale, that'll be some funding source potentially as well.
Brian, just as a comment for you and Jerry and for future committee members, I found it really useful to be reminded as a new committee member of what the previous decisions were and what the previous priorities were that were identified by the preceding committees. And this is this whole process of doing an assessment, which kind of lays out the problem and then sets the groundwork for raising funds to get the work done, seems to me to be a really effective way to go about doing this. There's still, with respect to stone walls, there's still many hundreds of thousands of dollars of work that need to be performed beyond what we're asking for in this initial grant, and want to give some thought as to how we'll try and find the funds and where we'll try to source those funds for that repair. But then finally, it seemed to me that this was also a great roadmap if the committee agrees that a priority in the future will be to do a similar repair and restoration of all of our metal structures, and then also agrees to do a similar repair and restoration of all of our landscape structures. The landscaping is going to be, it's going to take a long time and it's going to be really complicated and lots of starts and stops. The metal structures probably can follow the model that we have for the stone work, that an assessment, an identification, what needs to be repaired, what needs to be restored, what needs to be replaced, those sorts of things. So it's the sort of thing where we can get the sort of that whole cemetery infrastructure brought up to a point where Tish and Aaron and Justine can be focusing on maintenance and preventative maintenance going forward, as opposed to emergency repairs that seem to happen to us a lot. Anyway, that's just an observation here for us to think about for the future.
Great insights, Rod. What about, are there other committees or other folks that, Rod, you think that we could reach out, either as individuals or as a committee, to kind of build ground support for our CPC application? Some of the organizations, I think, Daughters of the American Revolution have an interest kind of in that area.
Yeah.
I think it's
well, we've contacted the Public Works Commission. We're going to work with Aaron. We've gotten on to the October meeting there. Cemetery Committee is here. The Historic Commission, they've agreed to review our request for a letter of support, and they're having a meeting tomorrow, actually, to review the application and our request for support. I tried the Visitor Center. That was a suggestion to me, but I learned from the Visitor Center that it's all staffed by town employees, so it's not possible for an employee, a Concord employee, to write a letter of support for a request for funding. But there is a Economic Vitality Committee, and that she forwarded it to that group, and also thinking about potentially the Chamber of Commerce. So those are some of the folks that we've extended outreach to. I hadn't thought about the Daughters of American Revolution, but happy to contact them and ask. It turns out I thought we needed all of these letters by September 16th, which caused me a great deal of anxiety in the middle of August. And then Aaron let me know that actually we can submit the letters of support as late as the middle of November. So it does give us a couple of months to go around town and make our plea for support. But happy to do that.
What about the Historic District Commission? I think a lot of the areas inside the Historic District Commission, I don't know if you want to approach them or if that's something to do it later.
Yeah, Brian, I think that's kind of subsumed by the Historical Commission, the historic districts. I can ask their guidance tomorrow to see if the Historic District Commission would be an additional, or whether they feel that the historical commission kind of supersedes that. I have no idea how that works with respect to turf and, who does what, but I can ask tomorrow.
And I don't know, using, John Arena with the D Funeral Home, or for the Chamber of Commerce, maybe, getting their support to be an advocate for the chamber, maybe an outreach, and also Holy Family Church. I don't know, they're a neighbor, and I don't know, I'm sure they'd like to see the walls repaired.
They have a great interest.
And they have a great interest, and so, there's another kind of, community, a greater.
Yeah. Well, they're interested in maintaining a good boundary relationship with the cemetery and having the cemetery sort of encroach on their property. So repairing those walls, I think is going to be something that the church is going to be very interested in.
Indeed, indeed. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Rob. So no, we don't need, so we've had a discussion, but we don't necessarily need a vote or anything to put this forward in the use of cemetery fund monies.
No.
No,
No,
okay.
not at this time. It's first, just an, application. If the cemetery committee would, I can draft a letter for the cemetery committee.
Okay.
If you'd like, or if somebody in the committee wants to draft it themselves. It's either way. I can use it to get a draft of the committee to review and approve at a future meeting, if that's what the committee would like to do.
Okay.
I think it's important to have a letter from this committee in support of the application. So.
Yeah. Terrific. Yeah, I think that'd be great for our next meeting if you could put together just whatever the form.
That's typically what we do. That's what we're doing for the Public Works Commission at next month's meeting as well.
Great. All right.
Thanks.
Thanks again, Rod, for all your work you're doing. Jerry, do you have any final comments on this issue before we move on? Are you good? Okay, terrific. Thank you. All right, so next is any committee members' comments on the issues that we've discussed here at the meeting today. All right, wonderful. Seeing none, we'll go to D6, public comments. I see Mr. Walton. How are you today?
Well, and yourselves.
Good, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. I joined the committee today because I had previously put in a volunteer card asking to join the committee. And before that, I had been asked to join the committee, but I was already on the West Concord Advisory Committee, and I didn't realize at the time I couldn't be on both. So now that I'm done with my stint on the West Concord Advisory Committee, I'm looking to join the Cemetery Committee if you'll have me.
Awesome.
Well, that's wonderful. Wonderful. Have you put a green card in for the?
The volunteer cards are no longer called green cards.
Oh, yes, right. Yes, thank you.
And yes, I put one in a while ago and never heard, but I understand, obviously there's a lot going on at the town with staff and whatnot. So it should be there. If it's not, I'm happy to fill out another one, but I did it online. So I believe it should be there.
All right. I will follow up with the townhouse, and I will get back to you. If you could, I'm going to try to reach out to you. So my email is online. If you go on the town website, Concord Public Works Highway and Grounds, you will see my email address. If you could send me your contact information.
I will.
And I will respond with my contact information, and then I will reach out to the townhouse and I'll follow up with you tomorrow.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Great, Mr. Walton. Yeah, as you can see, with technical, we're right on the brink. So any kind of little hiccup throws us into chaos. So you'd be a welcome member. And I have to say, it's a very fascinating and interesting committee that covers a wide range of topics, much more than I ever thought it would. So it's a fun place, from trying to figure out how grass can grow to historical markers and everything in between. It's a pretty fun group. So I look forward to working with you.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by it. And since my last time applying and being accepted and then not being able to join, I've found out that apparently one of the roots of my family tree are buried in the South Burying Ground. So I have a real vested interest in that.
That's terrific. That's terrific. I always like to see legacy folks here on the committee. So that's wonderful, wonderful. All right, terrific. So we have done a great job. We've gone through our agenda. So I think it's time for adjournment, unless there's any other issues or things people would like to bring forward. I will entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting. Is
I
there
make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
Fantastic. All right, roll call. Rod,
Aye.
Jerry,
Aye.
and myself is an aye. And Mr. Walton, next time, well, you'll probably be an aye at this point.
Well, I hope so, although having been the acting chair on the West Concord Advisory Committee, I know it takes some time to get through the town to get new members on. So hopefully we can make it for next meeting. I'll be here anyway.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for your time and for your service. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, always good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thanks so
much.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.